Hello and welcome. My name is Eva Dunlop Lewis, and I'll be guiding you through your Communities Connect engagement platform training. Let's get started. As a reminder for these trainings, I'm using the Judson Park Connect portal through the downloaded app on an Apple computer. There are some slight changes to the layout of this version of the app versus how it looks on the iPhone and the iPad app. I will point out those differences on the app as they arise. In this video lesson, I will be discussing the Newsfeed and the information cube, which includes the resident and team directories. We'll start with the Newsfeed. The Newsfeed is where you can find news about ongoing events, activities, and notifications posted by your Judson Park team members. To access the Newsfeed from your homepage, you can click News in the menu. The menu for iPhone and iPad users is located at the bottom of the screen. For the rest of us, the menu is located at the top of the screen. So whatever version we're using, we start by clicking or tapping News. I see News up here, but you may see News at the bottom of your screen and in the middle. After tapping News, the screen changes and we will see information posted by our community team members. This information is in the form of a post. And this page, the news feed, is ordered chronologically with the newest posts at the top and older posts as we move down the page. Let's take a look at this first post and learn how to read and understand posts. If you're using an iPhone or an iPad, the title of the post appears at the top of the page, at the top of the post. And underneath that title, you'll see the word activities on our first post. So it starts with the title and then it will show you a category. So this word activities is actually a category. We'll talk about categories more when we talk about filtering in a few minutes. I can see that this post is titled Welcome Charlotte Sanborn to Apartment 356. It was posted 2 days ago. That's what the D here stands for. It is a category on activities. And then I can see some information. Please welcome Charlotte Sanborn to Judson Park. And I could read more information if I click or tap to read more. But we don't want to do that just now. Let's keep scrolling down. Let's take a look at this second post. So if you're looking at the second post and you're using an iPhone or an iPad, you're going to notice that the title, which I see here, Judson Park Pet Video, is actually towards the top of the post. And also with it, you'll see the category, which again is activities. Also at the top, if you're using the iPhone or the iPad, it will show you 3 days ago. So one of the biggest differences between using the downloaded app on a computer, an Android, using the web browser, is just the layout of the newsfeed where you find certain information. If we wanted to read more about this post, we could click or tap read more. Let's give that a try. I'm going to hit read more right here and see what happens. So it doesn't really take me anywhere. It just reveals more text associated with this post. So I can see the whole line of text, get to know more about the pets that live here at Judson Park. JPTV channel 370 on Tuesday, February 22nd at 11 a.m. and Wednesday, February 23rd at 3 p.m. So we can see here that there's an image associated with this post. Unlike this top one, there is no image associated with this post. This top post is newer than the post below it. That is always true. The post above is newer. It's posted more recently than the post below it. So now I'm going to scroll through here. I'm looking for an attachment. I want to show you a little bit about attachments. So sometimes that below that post category, in this case, we see the category as information on the Judson Park Weekly Update, February 18th. Looks like it's maybe the fourth or fifth post in the newsfeed. The category here is information. Keep an eye on my screen up here because I want to show you the categories again. This one is information and it has to do with a weekly update. This one is mindfulness class and the category is activities. If you're using an iPhone or an iPad, then the category will be above the post image, under the title. On this post, the Judson Park pet video, the category is also activities. So I'm just trying to give you the habit of checking the category of a post. It will become important when we talk about filtering soon. But sometimes on posts, we have attachments. Not all posts have attachments. Attachments hold more information. An example of an attachment added to a post may be a flyer or a letter or a memo. And attachments are meant to be viewed separately. So if we click or tap on an attachment, we can see more information about that post. On this post, weekly update posted 6 days ago, the Judson Park Weekly Update, February 18th, categorized as information, we have an attachment. So an attachment is this separate little piece of information found at the bottom of a post. If you're using an iPhone or an iPad, instead of seeing weekly communication PDF, below the post, you'll see the word attachment and then 1 or 2 in parentheses. So it will tell you if you have an attachment if you're using the iPhone or iPad, but it won't actively show you the title of that attachment like we see up here. So to view the attachment, the process is different depending on what device you're using. On my screen, on the news feed, I can see the attachment. So to view it, I click it and it will take me into the attachment. But if you're using an iPhone or an iPad, it takes an extra step to view the attachment. From the news feed, you can tap anywhere on the post to be taken to a page where you just see that individual post. Then if there is an attachment, you will see a link. The link is written in blue text. The link is short for hyperlink. Tapping it or clicking it will take you to view the attachment. So the process is different to view an attachment on the iPhone or iPad. On my computer, browser, or Android version, I just have to find a post with an attachment, click it, and I get to see it. For iPhone and iPad users, you have to tap the post, then tap the blue link, and you'll be here in the attachment. So on the computer app for Cubigo and Judson Park Connect, we can zoom in or out on the attachment to make it larger or smaller using the plus and minus sign at the top of the attachment. If you have an iPhone or an iPad, your process is different. But on my screen up here, I can see I have a plus and a minus. So if you see that, you can hit the plus to zoom in, making the screen and the text on the screen and the images larger. You can also hit the minus sign to zoom back out, to make it smaller. But if you're viewing the attachment on an iPhone or an iPad, then you can zoom in using 2 fingers together, placing them on the screen and pulling them apart will zoom you in. Placing 2 fingers apart and pulling them together on your screen will allow you to zoom back out. I can see that on my screen up here, I have the option to print. You will not see this option if you're using the iPhone or the iPad app. Instead of seeing that little printer icon when you're viewing an attachment, you'll have to look for a share icon, which looks like a box with an arrow coming out of it. Usually on the iPad, it's located in the top right, and for the iPhone, it's in the bottom left. So we hit that share icon box and then scroll down to tap or select print. You may want to print attachments occasionally if there's important information that you'd like to have for your records. But it's always important to take a look at how many pages that attachment is. On the iPhone and iPad, we can scroll to see how many pages we're looking through. But on this computer version, I can actually see that I have 1 of 6. 1 of 6. So that means I'm on page 1 of 6 total pages. So it's important to take a look at that because you don't want to end up printing something that's 50 pages long. It's a waste of ink and very expensive. To get back to the news feed, we have a couple options. We could always hit news from the menu on our computer version here. If you're using an iPhone or an iPad, when you are looking at an attachment, you have to hit the word done in the top left corner. And then hit the word news in the top left corner. So done and then news. If you're using the computer, Android, or browser version like I am here, all you have to do is hit either news in the menu or hit the back arrow. And you're going to be taken back into that news feed. There's one more important section to talk about on individual posts, and that's commenting. So I'm scrolling through my news feed here, and that looks familiar. So let's talk about commenting in just a moment. If I look at this post What category does it fall under? Does anyone know?
Activities,
How do we know that it falls under activities?
because it says so.
It says so. So if you're looking at the iPad version, it would say it above the photo. But on the computer version, it says activities right here. That's the category. Now, is there an attachment associated with this post?
Yes.
How do we know that there's an attachment?
It's listed down below.
Very good. It's listed down below. If you're using the iPhone or the iPad version looking at this post, it would just say attachments and in parentheses 1. So I can click on it, click on the word attachments if you have an iPhone or an iPad, and from there you would click the blue link and it would take you here. You can look at your attachment. When you're ready on the iPhone or the iPad to get out of the attachment, you hit done in the top left and then the back arrow. On the computer version, I just hit the back arrow in the top left and I'm taken back into my newsfeed. So we've learned how to read the title of a post, the category of the post, see when it was posted, how to view attachments and more information. And I would like to let you know that in the future, probably in around mid-March to mid-April, there's going to be an enhancement release to Cubigo on the back end so that your content managers and your team members can actually set posts to expire so that there won't be a lot of old information found on your news feed. They can actually let them expire. So you won't have to do so much scrolling. But before I talk more about categories, avoiding scrolling, let's talk a little bit about commenting. We can comment on posts. We can say anything we want, but please keep things positive and polite. If the post has passed, we can comment that we attended and enjoyed the activity, or even thank the team for posting valuable information. To make a comment on the newsfeed on the iPhone or iPad application, you can click or tap anywhere on the post to be taken to the page where you just see that individual post. And then tap the word comments. Type your text in the text box at the bottom of the page and tap send to post your comment to that newsfeed post. Then tap the back arrow in the top left to return to the previous page where you just see that one post, and tap the back arrow again to get back to the news feed. On the computer, Android, and browser version that you see up here on my screen, if we want to make a comment, we click or tap where it says comments, and then the text box appears and we can say our comments. So I'm going to say, welcome, Charlotte. When you've typed your comment, you can just go ahead and hit send, and your comment will be posted for your other residents and team members to see. You can delete your own comment by hitting the trash can icon, but you cannot delete anyone else's comments. I highly recommend commenting. It's a great way to give your activities and life enrichment team members' feedback. You can ask questions. You can gain traction or support for different activities and information posted on your news feed. In our follow-up training, we will be practicing a little bit more with comments. So let's talk about filtering newsfeed posts. At the top of the newsfeed, so to get to the top, we can scroll back up. Oops, daisies. If you are at the bottom, you can scroll back up. At the top of the news feed, we see the words category and show all. This is actually a filter. We can use this filter to select which category of information we want to view on the news feed at a certain time. So we talked about looking at the categories on individual posts so we can get an idea of what falls where. Click or tap Show All and choose which category of news you want to view. You have all these categories. I'm going to try committees. Doesn't look like there's much or anything posted on committees. So I'm going to hit committees and then try dining. Nothing really for dining. How about information? So now I can just see posts about that category. After making your selection to the news feed filter, the screen changes and only reveals posts that were designated to that category. We can scroll down and view more news in that category. And so you can see we always want to pay attention to the category of news on a post so that we will be able to easily find it again or filter down the information that we're seeing here without scrolling endlessly through our news feed. Does that make sense? To remove the filter and return to all news, go back to the filter at the top of the page if you scroll down. Click the category name you selected. So I chose information, so I click information. And change it back to show all. You will notice that the information on the news feed returns to all categories, all posts. Are there any questions here before I move on and start talking about the information cube?
So we cannot delete the post from our device?
No, you as a resident user cannot delete a post, but in the future, there will be an enhancement allowing your content managers to set an expiration date so that when they post something, it can remove itself from the news feed when that expiration time has passed, so that you won't see a lot of really old information on here. And in the meantime, content managers can delete old posts manually. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Excellent. Are there any other questions before I move on? All right, then let's go forward with talking about the information cube. This is a very important cube found within Judson Park Connect. Like the other cubes, it's found on the home page, the first page we see when we open Judson Park Connect. To get to the home page, we click Home in the menu. For iPhone and iPad users, your menu is located at the bottom of the screen. You can click or tap Home. For pretty much everybody else, we see Home and the menu at the top of the screen. So I can quickly get home by hitting Home. And now I am back to the main, the home page of Judson Park Connect. The information cube has a blue background. Here it is, right here. You may have to scroll down to see it if you're using the iPhone or the iPad. But when we see the information cube, we can click it or tap it, and it will take us to the main page of the information cube, the first page of the information cube. And here on the main page of the information cube, we can see community information for Judson Park, including the address and the phone number. Below this first segment, we can see the resident directories and the team directories. These icons are links or buttons, meaning that if we click them or tap them, they will take us somewhere. We will talk about them in a moment. Also on the information cube, you can scroll down and see various important information that your community team members have posted. On Judson Park Connect, you'll find the Judson Park Resident Handbook updated, weekly updates, major project updates, COVID updates, human good news updates, human good community videos, test transitions in memoriam, the organizational chart, and town hall minutes. All of this information is found on the information cube. In the future, my training videos will also be found on the information cube, so definitely check back for those. To view the information related to any of these titles, we start by clicking the text. On my screen, I see that an attachment has appeared. The attachment has appeared. I can see that the attachment is written in bold. If I want to view the attachment, then I can click it or tap it, and I will be taken to the page where I view that attachment independently. It's a very similar process on the iPhone or iPad, but instead of in bold writing, your attachment appears in blue writing. So now here I am looking at attachment. I can zoom in by using two fingers on the screen, pulling them apart if I'm using the iPhone or the iPad, and two fingers together, pulling them together if I'm using the iPhone or the iPad. On the computer desktop browser version, I can hit the plus icon to zoom in or the minus icon to zoom out. And I'm going a little bit quickly just because it's a review. Now, can anyone tell me, would I want to print this attachment? Why are you laughing?
Oh, no.
128 pages.
It's 128 pages, that's right. So it would be kind of hard to see that on the iPhone or the iPad. You usually have to start scrolling and then it will reveal in the top left how many pages are actually in it. But in the same area up here, I can see 1 of 128, meaning that's how many pages are in this document. And you're right, you should laugh at it. That would take a long time and probably cost you about 50 bucks in ink. So why print it when you can so easily access it on your Judson Park Connect information cube?
Question.
Yes.
If you wanted to print out a certain section, can you scroll to that number and then print?
Yes. The process is different though, based on what printer you have, but you could, when you get to the printer dialog page, you could just tell it to print page, 72 of 128.
Good.
Yeah. And in here, if you wanted to get to a page really quickly, you can just type it in. Another nice feature on the computer version, not available on the iPhone or the iPad, is to hold down on Apple computers. It's the Command key and the letter F at the same time. If you hold down Command F on the Apple computer or Control F on a PC computer, you can actually search for a key word. So let's see. Let's try mail. Actually, it doesn't look like it appears to be a functional operation here, so please disregard that. To get out of the attachment, we can tap the back arrow on the computer, desktop, browser, or Android version. On the iPhone or iPad, to get out of the attachment, we hit the word done. And then we hit information in the top left. And we are all back to the main page of the information cube. Are there any questions about viewing information and attachments on the information cube before I talk about the directories?
Just one. I note that information shown is out of date. Is that a automatic update, or does somebody have to put it in? And if so, how often do they do that?
Thank you for asking that, Tom. It's a great question. That is actually managed by your content managers. It's not automatic. Your life enrichment team has taken on the gigantic role of managing all of Judson Park Connect, with the exception of certain cubes. So if there's something that you feel needs to be added or updated, please contact your life enrichment team and let them know. What do you see that's out of date?
Well, on this one, reception desk hours.
Okay, so great. You've just let them know.
Thanks, Tom. I'll get it updated.
Thanks, Natalie. See? There we go. Tom, you just fixed a problem for the whole community. You should feel good. Let's talk about that resident directory. The resident directory, I'm just going to show you this from the home page, is always found on that handy dandy information cube. So in the information cube, it is located at the top of the page. You have buttons for resident directory and team directory. The resident directory is where you find names and information for residents at Judson Park. And the team directory is where you find names and information for the team members at Judson Park. For this next portion of our video training, I have pulled a clip from the directory of the White Sands Connect portal. Thus, what you are seeing here in this next portion of the lesson on the resident and team directories will not be your community unless you live at White Sands. Do not fret, it is okay, because the functions of the directory work the same across the communities. Only the faces, which will be blurred anyway, will not be visible. I'm doing it this way because for legal and privacy reasons, I cannot show residents' faces. Ready? All right, here we go. Here we are, still on the main page of the informations cube. What you're seeing here is the informations cube for White Sands, but it should look pretty much the same for your community as well. At the top of the page on this cube, we can find access to the resident directory and the team directory. The resident directory is where you can find names and information for residents at your community. And the team directory is where you can find names and information for team members at your community. Let's start first with the resident directory. To view the directory, we click or tap where it says Resident Directory. After a moment, the screen loads and the resident directory is visible. You'll notice on my screen up here, the faces are blurred. You can't actually see the residents on this page. When you're searching and view the resident directory, you won't have that problem. Again, I just did this for legal and privacy reasons. Once inside the resident directory, we're going to see residents listed by last name first. In some cases, you may see a resident without a photo and without a name. There are two possibilities for this. One, it could be that this is a resident who, for their own personal privacy reasons, chose not to be shown in the resident directory. Or two, it's that this person is a short-term resident. We have a couple options for finding a resident in the resident directory. Firstly, we could scroll down the page and just look for the resident we want to find. Remember that this page is sorted by last name first. Alternatively, we could use the search bar or a filter to find a specific resident. We can find the search bar and the filter back at the top of the page of the resident directory. Let's talk about the filter first. On my screen, to the right of the search bar, I have the option for all. This is a filter. We can change or adjust the filter, and in computing, a filter acts just like your coffee filter. When using a filter, only certain things are allowed to pass through. So by default, we're viewing all residents in all levels of living. For iPhones and iPads, instead of seeing the word all, you'll see all roles. So for iPhones and iPads, all roles is your filter for levels of living. To search for a resident in a particular level of living, click or tap where it says all or all roles, depending on what you see, and make your selection. This will now act as a filter, removing everyone as an option that is not in this level of living. For my example, I'm going to keep the filter to all. So when I search for a resident by name or apartment number, I will be looking through all levels of living. For some communities, this is the only filter, levels of living. But by the end of 2022, all communities will have access to another filter, interests. Here's what it'll look like when you have interests available as a filter. It'll show up to the right of all. With this filter, interests, we can find residents that may share common interests with us. All we have to do is click or tap all interests and scroll through the list to select an interest. There are tons of interests to choose from. You can click an interest and then it will show you those residents that are also interested in that topic. In order for this to work, however, you as an individual and your other residents have to complete their profile and fill out their interests. We have another training video on this process available. So perhaps after watching this video training, you watch the training on editing your profile to learn how to add your interests and become searchable in the directory by interest. Last reminder, this may not yet be available in your community, but by the end of 2022, it will be. To search for a resident by name or apartment, click the text box to the left of all. On iPhones and iPads, it is above all. And then type a name. As you type, the results will begin to filter based on the letters that you have typed in. For my example, I'm going to search the name Donald, looking for Donald Duck, who is not actually a resident at White Sands. After typing the name, we can see the search results. When you find the resident that you are looking for, you can click or tap their name or where it says View Profile. The screen will change. And now we can see that resident's profile. It'll be a larger view of their image, and we'll be able to see their phone numbers, their apartment numbers, their emails, if listed. We also have the opportunity to chat from here, but we'll learn about that in future lessons. It's important to note that viewing this page is a little bit simpler when using an iPhone or an iPad. We can actually see more about this resident if they've chosen to add any information to their public profile section within Community Connect. On the computer version, what I see up here, I have the option to click About. And then I can see any of the public information that this resident chose to add about themselves. For iPhone and iPad users, this will automatically show up on the profile. You do not have to click it separately. To leave this page on my version, I look for the X located in the top right corner of this window. I click the X and I will be taken back to the resident directory where I searched for Donald. For iPhone and iPad users, you want to hit the word cancel to the right of your search bar. Now we have to clear out our search. So we want to click or tap the search bar and delete the text of the name we searched for. And we'll be taken back to the full resident directory. Here we can hit the back arrow where it says information to be taken back to the main page of the information cube on computers, or we can hit done for iPhone and iPad users, also located in the top left. Now here we are back to the main page of the information cube, where we can find both the resident directory and the team directory. Let's move on to the team directory, which works very similarly to the resident directory. We'll start by clicking or tapping where it says Team Directory. After a moment, the screen loads and the team directory is visible. Just like the resident directory, once inside the team member directory, we're going to see team members listed by last name first. We have a couple of options for finding a team member in the directory. Firstly, we could scroll down the page and just look for the team member we want to find. Alternatively, we could use the search bar back at the top of the page of the team directory. Currently, your team members are working hard to input and update all the team member data. So although you may not see many photos now, that should change in the future. You'll also be able to search not only by name, but by typing in a role, such as dining or maintenance. That feature should also be up and running in the future. Right now, I'm just going to search by name. We'll start by clicking or tapping the text box at the top of the page. As you type, the results will begin to filter based on the letters that you have typed into the text box. For my example, I'm going to search the name Gary, looking for Gary Borriero, Executive Director of White Sands. After typing the name, we can see the search results below. When we find the team member that we're looking for, we can click or tap their name or where it says View Profile. The screen will change and now we can see that team member's profile. It'll show a larger view of their image, and we will be able to see their phone numbers and emails if listed. We also have the opportunity to start a chat from here, but we'll learn more about this in future lessons. It's important to note that viewing this page is a little bit simpler when using an iPhone or an iPad. You can actually see more about this team member if they've chosen to add any information to their public profile section within Community Connect. On the computer version, what I see up here, I have the option to click About, and then I can see any of the public information that this team member chose to add about themselves. However, for iPhone and iPad users, this will automatically show up on the profile. You don't have to click About separately. It just shows up. As you'll notice, not every resident or team member chooses to add any information in the About section of their public profile. To leave this page, on my version, I'll look for the X located in the top right corner of this window. I can click the X and I'll be taken back to the team member directory where I searched for Gary. For iPhone and iPad users, you want to hit the word cancel to the right of your search bar. Now we have to clear out our search box. We want to click or tap the search bar and delete the text of the name we searched for. And we'll be taken back to the full team member directory. Here we can hit the back arrow where it says information to be taken back to the main page of the information cube on computers. iPhone and iPad users can hit done, also located in the top left, to be taken back to the main page of the information cube. And that's it. We're back to the main page of the information cube. Now we can go back to the home page by hitting home at the top of the menu for computer versions, or hitting home at the bottom of the screen for iPhone and iPad users. If you're following along, you'll see the home page of your Community Connect portal and not the White Sands page, unless you actually live at White Sands. Thank you so much for watching. Rewatch as much as you need to, and check back for more training videos soon. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.